Howdy, heretics, and welcome to Datut. So we're having this too. There's a lot of PMOs and they're lonely. So I thought we have this every week and they can talk to us. And we have Susan. So, and I was just thinking, TBM, a totally believing moron. I thought people can call in, tell their TBM stories. Like when I was dating my now ex-wife, I touched her boob and I went to the elders and confessed. That's a totally believing moron. Confessing to the elders for touching one boob. I should have touched both and not tell the elders anything. And just a funny thing, we had a judicial meeting and she was a part of the judicial meeting.
Wow.
What did she do wrong? Technically, she was the victim of a sexual assault.
Technically speaking, yes.
Yeah.
So I suppose
I'm a sex offender.
I suppose they wanted to question her as to all of the details and whether or not she was a willing participant and all of that business. So, and and hello, by the way, it's nice to actually see you.
Yeah.
For real, I've been watching your videos. Love your overlapping generation explanation. Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of fun this with brainwashing, how it works, because it takes I probably told this before, but it takes a lot of time to make videos with a lot of clips and with animals because they just run around. So I was listening to this for like one day. 1 + 1 is 1. 1 + 1 is 1. 1 + 1 is 1. And the next day I was going to the store and it was really difficult. Like you get these wrong patterns in your brain, like brainwashing.
Yes.
So it's like I gotta buy 2 milk, like 1, 1, 1. It's difficult to pick up 2 milk. It's a real thing, brainwashing.
Yeah, and the cognitive dissonance that comes with coming out of the PMO stage and actually disassociating, which I've done, after you don't even realize, would you agree that you don't even realize you have been brainwashed? The indoctrination is so slowly, little sugar-coated morsels are handed out when you're a Bible student. And so before you know it, you're in and you don't realize you're in until you're coming out. Yeah. So
do you have a TBM moment to tell us about? There's good and bad, like shunning people. All of us did that. And that's sad.
Honestly, my story is a little bit different than most I have heard on the number of XJW channels that I've been watching, yours included. Let's start out by saying I'm 70 years old, and I did not get baptized until July of 2016.
Oh.
Yeah. So I have a little bit different story than others do.
Okay, tell us.
So what I'm not sure. Where would you like for me to begin? I don't want to bore your viewers or you.
Well, you know what's funny. I can't guess what's good. Just tell why did you grow up in the Datut?
No, well. First of all, I'll let your viewers know that I am in the United States of America, and I was having a rough spot in my marriage, which is all fine now, but I had retired to the little town here that I live in out of the music business, and got bored after a while, and so took a part-time job. At the part-time job, I was befriended by and also became the friend of a young lady who at that time I did not know was a Jehovah's Witness.
I have to say thank you to Teresa Atkins for super chat. Keep up the good work.
Awesome.
Thank you. Okay, keep
Yeah.
on, Susan.
Yeah. Okay. So Anne, what should I call you, Jonah, or should I call you Goatlike?
Whatever you want.
Okay. So, Jonah, just to let you know, I do tend to digress, so feel free to stop me at any time. The young lady I met, I'm honestly old enough to be her mom, but we became really good friends. Now, in the course of developing the friendship, I began sharing with her some of the issues that my husband and I were having, and this deepened our relationship. And one day, we were in a situation where we were the only two around, and no customers. All of our work was done. And for some reason, I asked her when her birthday was. And she responded that she didn't do birthdays, and she was somewhat hesitant in the response. Now, I had encountered witnesses in the past as a householder, like when they're coming to my door, right?
Mm.
And I would just take the magazine and, kind of blow them up. So anyway, her hesitancy in her response made me go, "Are you a Jehovah's Witness?" And she was like, yeah. And I said, "Oh, cool." I said, "I enjoy talking about the Bible and stuff, let's talk." So we started talking. She ends up offering me a Bible study. I end up taking the Bible study. And I had thrown out the gauntlet thinking that it couldn't be accomplished, actually. That if she could prove to me that the Bible was historically and scientifically correct, mind you, at this time, I didn't even believe in God. So if you can prove it's correct, then historically and scientifically, then yeah, I'll take a Bible study. So at that time, they were using the "What Does the Bible Really Teach" book.
Mm.
And almost first up, they come up with a subheading of, "Is the Bible historically and scientifically correct?" So I was like, oh, yay. And there was a scripture used there. It was in Isaiah. I want to say it's chapter 44. Nonetheless, the verse says something about the earth being a circle.
Yeah.
And the footnote said the synonym was sphere. And it was so weird, John. In that moment, I was like, oh my God, this has got to be, how could he have known that the earth is a sphere? And I went from not believing in God to suddenly believing that the Bible was absent. And then they do the prophecy thing with Cyrus.
Yeah, but many, like many Native American groups of people believe the Earth was a circle, a sphere. It's not like a lot of people came to that conclusion thousands of years ago.
Well, and see, I'm sorry. In my limited experience and knowledge,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there were other ancient cultures who actually realized that my limited education and knowledge, it was just a mind blower for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So now I studied 3.5 years faithfully. And I was one of those students who I was always prepared. I'd always read all of the scriptures. I didn't answer from the paragraph. My answer would be my own thoughts in relationship to the paragraph and the scriptures. And So I was just like this super progressive student. But as a free thinker, there were a few red flags that had come up.
Okay.
But like the higher education, and a few other things in the course of my study, but I would like push them to the, just, yeah, but this is the truth. So I just push them to the back burner. I got through both books, Keep Yourselves in God's Love, and I became an unbaptized publisher. And then, and I'm sure anyone watching who is or has been a Jehovah's Witness, then the pressure from individuals within the congregation begins. When are you going to get baptized? And this kept up for a while. And finally, I can't remember, there's a term for the time that you have invested. You've invested like this 3.5 years in this study, and the red flags were not enough to make you stop. And
You get used to them.
yeah, and you get all that love bombing, and you start applying the principles, and and your relationship with your husband gets better. And okay, so frankly, and I know you're going to think I'm an idiot.
No.
But I got fed up to here with people freaking asking me when I was going to get baptized.
Yeah, been there,
and I
done
had
that.
all this time invested. I'm a regular attender at the meetings. I'm an unbaptized publisher. So I'm like, what the hell? Oh, I'm sorry. For that.
I don't care.
Just, okay, so do it. Do it. So I did. And that was July the 9th of 2016 at the convention here in my state, which is Arkansas. And things go along. Now, the timing of that, Jonah, is that the older ones in the congregation, they're sort of murmuring about they're not real happy with the changes that have taken place.
They were not.
And those, of course, I'm coming in new, so I'm like, I don't know what these changes are. So the new Silver Sword, the new translation, New World Translation had come out. The new songbook was out with new songs, new lyrics written to some of the old songs.
Yeah, they're terrible.
The midweek meeting was changed from the, what was it called? Kingdom Ministry and Theocratic Ministry School when I first started. And right there, they changed it to Our Christian Life and Ministry, and the setup kind of changed. And so I'm constantly getting parts. And I'm getting good counseling, except, it's kind of like as a free thinker, man, I'm going, if you tell me to use the sample conversation, I'm not going to do that really. I mean, like right now, I'm just speaking to you, I'm winging it. I'd rather be speaking to the person the way I'm speaking to you. And if I don't know the effing answer, then I'll either research it or, hey, let's sit here and look and see if we can find it. Right. So anyway.
And you're actually a better recruiter if you speak from the heart.
Yeah.
And those that goes to the line, but Watchtower want you to, or at least on the platform, just read the presentation.
Yeah. So now, as a tiny bit of backstory, I was not taken to church growing up, but I was sent to church. So I had been exposed to the Methodists, the Lutherans, the Baptists, the Pentecostal, a number of different Protestant denominations in the U.S. So I had like a Jesus background. And so I started noticing different things. And while I'm attending the meetings faithfully and getting all these kudos from everybody because, oh, I'm the new one. And I've come out of the world. I've been in the entertainment industry. And, my husband is a biker. Oh, my God. And
What did you
so
say it was?
he's a biker, like a real
Biker.
biker.
Okay.
Yeah, not like a motorcycle enthusiast, like a real biker. So, okay. So, oh, this wonderful new sister, and she's married to a guy that's so worldly, and look how faith. So you just get this constant up your hind end love bombing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, coming out of the entertainment industry, which is obviously, it's called show business for a reason, blah, blah, blah. And it's an ego-driven business, or, so obviously I've got to have been a one, or I wouldn't have been in the industry to begin with. So I'm loving the love bombing and all this. Oh, man, you are so, okay. Now, I have a condition called multiple sclerosis. It's the remitting relapsing type, which is the mildest form you can have. I'm 70 years old. I'm a free thinker. I grew up in the States in the 60s and 70s during the civil rights movement, the free love, the women's movement, and I was all up in all of that. So this was a major life change for me. Let's see, what was going, so I'm going a lot. So that the idea, here's what I was going to say. Suddenly I start realizing I'm getting pressured to go out and service more. And I hope it's all right with you. May I mention your episode where you talked about your ex-wife and her MS?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, and so it's really subtle, this pressure. You'll have more energy if you go out and service more.
Yeah.
Your joy will increase if you go out and service more. Now, I'm a free thinker. I'm also take really good care of myself. And I pay attention to what my medical professionals tell me. And I'm not going to I don't, first of all, I don't like this pressure. Get off my ass. And if I need to rest, I'm going to rest. So I'm maybe getting 10 hours a month, and that's including informal witnessing. And so then the ministerial servant and his friend show up, and they're your friend and just want to check on you. Unexpected. And as you know, they never let you know they're coming.
No.
So sometimes if I'm not feeling so hot, I'm not dressed appropriately to receive gentlemen callers. And and my husband is at work. So, okay, chill. I'm frosty with that. Give me a moment to go let me go put something on that's more appropriate. Have a nice little visit, nice shepherding. Okay. And then, then the next shepherding call you get unannounced is 2 elders and this circuit overseer. And sharing those scriptures with you, to encourage you, to energize you, and to get you to go. And I'm sitting here literally, Jonah, and on that day, I felt so bad that I didn't have the energy to literally go get dressed appropriately. I just put a robe on over my night clothes. And here's 3 guys in my living room on a winter day with my husband gone. And I told them the same story everybody already knows. I have MS. I don't feel well. I feel worse in the winter. I can't trust my balance. I'm not going out on icy days, so on and so forth. Thank you for the scripture. I'll put it on my refrigerator and make it my favorite for a while. Now, I'm going to mention a name. It's the only name I will mention. And I feel okay mentioning it because he has already been accused, convicted, and is serving his sentence in an Arkansas state prison. I had lost balance on a certain day because of the MS, and I fell down my back steps, and I really hurt my tailbone. So I'm laid up with that, so on and so forth. So the girl who had been my friend and my Bible teacher comes to check on me because I'd missed the midweek meeting the night before. And she mentions rather offhandedly that an elder named Roderick Watkins had been disfellowshipped. Now, this guy was super charismatic, spoke at the conventions, orchestrated and conducted the dramas. Back when they did the dramas, he'd been a Bethelite, so on and so forth. And I'm like, what for? Well, they don't tell you. You don't know what for. Long story short, it comes to my attention eventually that Roderick Watkins had been arrested for child sexual assault.
Yep.
Involving children in my congregation, children whose families, I don't want to get emotional. I was close to their families.
Yeah.
Close to the children. And I am the survivor of child sexual abuse as well. So this really pissed me off. And I decided that MS or no MS or whatever, I was going to go to this trial. So I did. And at the trial, I met Mark O'Donnell, aka John Redwood. Now, I have a background in television broadcasting. And as part of that, I was a 6 o'clock news anchor on a local television station. And so I have a little bit of a journalism background. And so I'm noticing as I arrive for the trial, there's this one guy, turns out to be Mark, sitting by himself. And I could tell by his demeanor and his accoutrement that he was a journalist of some sort. So on the lunch break, I approached him outside the courthouse and I start chatting with him. Now, the other witnesses are coming out of the courthouse on this lunch break. And a ministerial servant walks past me and grabs me by the elbow and firmly but gently kind of tugs on me and says, "Do not be talking to apostates."
No, because we're terrible.
Well, first of all, I didn't know Mark from Adam, if you'll pardon the expression. So first of all, I don't know I'm talking to an apostate. Secondly, I wouldn't have given a rat's ass if I had known he was an apostate, because I'm going to talk to whoever I choose to talk to.
Yeah. They do that also when we're protesting. Sorry to cut you off, but I was talking to a guy, and a grown man, and then this 20-year-old ministerial servant come, you're not allowed to talk to them, and take him away, and that happened many times. They believe they can tell you who to talk to.
So yeah, so my home is about 8 city blocks from the courthouse. So I'm going to come home for lunch. My phone began ringing before I got out of the courthouse parking lot. I'm not going to answer it because I'm driving. I get home, the 8 blocks, get out my phone. 2 elders have called me 4 times and texted me twice in an 8-block drive. I call one of them back. You shouldn't be talking to apostate. So I'm like, first of all, blah, 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 whatever I told you. I didn't know he was an apostate, and I don't care. So I go back to the trial for the afternoon. Now, to be honest, Jonah, and I'm one of these days I'm gonna text, I'm gonna call Mark, and I'm just gonna say, do you remember how this happened? I made up my mind I was gonna slip him my phone number, because there was just something about that whole thing and the testimony I had been hearing that first day, where I'm for the first time learning about the 2-witness rule. For the first time, I'm learning that a young man, the grandson of an elder, had been molested by Roderick Watkins a number of years before, went to the elders, and they blew him off. So they already knew, all right, there's something going on with this guy. In the interim, he's the service overseer.
He got to continue as an elder after allegation against him?
Now, see, that happened before I came in, so I'm not exactly sure how it went, but by the time I come in, he's already an elder again, and he's already like the service overseer did. Well, so Mark and I communicate. He comes to my home under cover of darkness. We share coffee and cats. My husband and I are cat rescuers, so we have a number of cats. And Kimmy and Mark love cats too, so we had that in common. Mark spent the entire evening here in our home in conversation with my husband and I. And he was not really forthcoming about anything other than what he knew about Roderick Watkins, and we talked a little bit about what I knew. And he told me about the John Cedars channel. The next evening, the next day, I go back to the trial. It's horrendous. Absolutely. And it's just awful watching these lovely children have to take the stand with that asshole sitting there looking at them and having to tell in detail what he did.
Yeah.
There were 4 children that he was accused, arrested, and convicted. Other children came forward and testified, but there were no charges against him in regards to those children. That evening, my husband and Mark went out to dinner, and then I didn't see Mark again, but we texted once in a while. Then the coronavirus came. Now, in between, I'm still going to meetings. I'm still taking their bullshit about not having enough service time and all of this business. Unexpected shepherding calls and elders' wives showing up with a bouquet of flowers and this, that, and the other. And then the pandemic comes and the Zoom meetings started. Now, up until then, I did not have unlimited access to the internet. So the only time I got on the internet on my little phone here that I'm talking to you on was to go to jw.borg. And so then I got unlimited data so I could do the Zoom meetings. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, Jonah, they're freaking texting you every day. The elders are emailing you every day. They're sending you lists of people you don't know with their address and phone numbers. Write them, and here's the letter to write, and call this. And I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm not going to do this. Then the meeting's more, you've got to dress for the meeting. You have to stand up to sing. Excuse me, I'm going to wear my bunny slippers. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I honestly can't tell you what happened. That one day I went, what was that channel that Mark O'Donnell told me about? He told me that they were going to do an episode on the Watkins trial. I want to go watch that episode because I sat through every moment of the trial. So if Mark O'Donnell is really a journalist, and if his report is accurate or contains any characterizations, falsehoods, additives, or leave outs, I will know it.
Yeah.
So I texted Mark and I'm like, what is that channel? And I went and watched the Watkins trial, and every word out of his mouth was exactly the way it went. So
That's
I
good.
started, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's good. And I noticed many apostates, not all, but since we are like pre-accused of being liars, many are really, really like super nerdy, fact-checked everything a million times,
Yeah. And so I had never been on YouTube. I am a techno dummy. I didn't know about live chats. I knew none of this. I didn't know about comment sections. So I get my granddaughter to set me up this alias, and I was lip locked no more. And I go into full blown PMO mode. And I started researching, my friend. And as another channel, XJW channel, put it, the rabbit hole.
Yep.
Wow. They don't tell you this stuff when you're a student. No. You don't know about the 1914. You don't know about the overlapping generation. You don't know about 1914, 1919, 1931, 1951, 1874, 1975. You don't know these things.
No.
You don't know about the original teachings of Charles Taze Russell.
What they do is they take something they are good at, like the soul is dead, can die, and some stuff.
Yeah.
Like God have a name, and people feel, oh, this is new, and then they feel I can trust these people because they know what they're talking about. So they give them some. I don't believe in the Bible, but I could say like they have some easy points in the beginning, like soul, God's name, blah 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 blah. What happens when we die, and then it just gets more complicated. But then you like the person you study with, and you trust them. So you just 1914. Well, if you say it,
yeah. And and you have these great promises about those people that you love that have died and how you're going to get to see them again. And that was a big one for me. And I totally bought into how Jehovah's name had been removed. And then you do your research on what they call the Greek scriptures, and you find out that the guy Jesus, if he was real, I don't, who knows? I don't know. Never want, where they and then you find out that, well, why is there a line here in this scripture? Oh, we left it out. Why did you leave it out? And then, and I made a few notes. If it's that, then I start finding out now. Keep it the Rod Watkins thing. Regardless, Jonah, of whatever else I had found out, I was full blown PMO.
Mm-hmm.
Because I couldn't come back from that. I could not come back from the fact that they had, this is my opinion, but in my opinion, they had protected that man, and these children were harmed because of that. And I just couldn't tolerate that. But just looking here at some of my notes that I put in my disassociation letter, I disassociated on July 1st of this year, after I come to a place where I turned off my camera and my mic on the Zoom meetings, and I would set up a hotspot, and then I would be watching like your channel or John Cedar's channel or one of the others while the other people were in their Zoom meeting. But when you find out things like weird ass things like Rutherford's letter to Hitler.
Yeah.
The two witness rule, I've already mentioned the overlapping generation, the blood issue. Excuse me, how many people died the day before you changed your freaking mind, governing board?
Yeah. And if you tell witnesses, they say, well, they will, thank you, Sheila, super sticker. Now, witnesses, I remember I spoke to my now ex-wife and I said, because I instead of focus on blood, because when you talk about blood, the witnesses, they go in, combat mode. So I said, Jehovah Witnesses used to say you couldn't take a kidney transplant because then they don't go into defense mode, and people died because they didn't take a kidney transplant. And then they said, well, it is okay. So first it was okay, then it wasn't okay, and then it's okay. And the witnesses just say, well, they get resurrected.
And that kind of, did you experience this I don't really know how to phrase it, but this kind of an emotionless, kind of like they don't see, I don't like to really say anything bad about the rank and file witnesses.
No.
Because I didn't know I was in a cult until I did the bite model. Now, this whole time, another digression, so stop me if you need to.
No.
But I finally hear somewhere, I think maybe on Telltale's channel or something, about the bite model. I'd never heard of it. So I accessed that. Now, over these few months of all this research I'm doing, my husband, who had studied, but there were too many red flags. He's like, no, I'm not doing this. So, but he never says anything to me to try to stop me because he respects me and he's not going to try to stop me from doing what I want to do. So anyway, I'm here in my study here where I am right now, and he's in the living room reading his Sunday paper. And I finished the bite model. I burst into tears, Jonah. I walked into my living room with my phone in my hand. My husband looked up at me from his paper. And I said, oh my God, honey, I'm in an effing cult. And my loving, adorable husband looked up over his paper and said, yes, sweetheart, I know that.
Yeah, the same. I've been apologizing to my return visit. Sorry for trying to recruit you to a cult. And they say, yeah, we knew that.
I had the same experience with my RVs. I only had 3, and I contacted all 3 of them, and they were like, "Oh my God, we're so happy. We've been wanting to tell you that you're in a cult, that we like you, and we didn't want to hurt your feelings."
Yeah.
So now I'm friends with my return visits, and it has nothing to do with religion or anything else.
Yeah,
We
that's
just,
fine. Actually, me too. I have friends that used to be return visits that are good friends. It's just I stopped being crazy, but we're still friends.
yeah, yeah. And I do have a PMO friend that I won't go into. That.
Nope.
But I have someone who has me share links via text message with channels, and they go and watch them. So that's cool. But so my life is great. I don't have these Borg clones. What I was saying about the rank and file. They don't know they're in a cult. And the people that I loved while I was in Jonah, I still loved them.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm now I had no family in, so I've never experienced that ultimate heartbreak of shunning, or I've never shunned anyone. I'm so glad I never started a Bible study with anyone.
Or indoctrinated
Um,
your children.
See, my children were already grown. I did take a couple of I have great grandchildren, but I took a couple of my grandchildren to a couple of meetings over the years, but they just went because grandma was going, and that's all. To them, it was like going to church or something. But I am totally shunned by the congregation, and it was a difficult decision to make, to disassociate. But I had doctrinal issues, I had organizational issues, and I had very serious conscious issues.
Like what?
And the child sexual abuse.
Okay.
I could not, in any good conscience, be affiliated on any level with an organization that would, on any level, condone, hide. You find out about the secret child sex abuse databases maintained at the branch offices. Then you watch the Australian Royal Commission. You watch a member of the governing body lie under oath.
Yeah.
But as you know, and anyone that's been involved with the cult knows, theocratic warfare.
Yeah, we were practicing that as a child, growing up a Jehovah Witness.
So, and that contradiction alone, it's okay. I had an elder tell me once, it's okay for me to lie to my husband if it helps indoctrinate him. They didn't use the word indoctrinate. If it would help bring him into the truth, it's okay to be crafty, is the word that was used. You can be crafty. I didn't even pursue that line of discussion, because the last freaking thing I'm going to be with my guy is is crafty. I'm not going to be crafty.
Yeah.
So,
How they justify to themselves is that we will give you more information later. So if you ask them, can you be disfellowshipped for having a Christmas tree, they will say, like I remember my mother used to say, no, I never heard about anyone that was disfellowshipped for having a Christmas tree. So they answer a different question because they don't want to lie, but they basically say, no, I never heard about it. But later when you've been studying a year, obviously they will tell you, no, you can't have a Christmas tree, you will be disfellowshipped. So they feel they're not lying because they are giving you the information little by little. That's
Hmm.
how we learn to justify it to ourselves. So you can really lie to people because it's like a fact. And it's also a place in the Bible where Paul says, I have many things to tell you, but you're not mature yet. So that is used as a scriptural excuse for lying. I can lie to you because I will tell you the truth later when you are mature.
I appreciate that you use the word excuse rather than reason, because the biblical excuses are exactly that.
Yeah, witnesses use the Bible as an excuse for bad behavior.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, I must admit that the first few times that people drove by my home and would do this, if they saw me outside, I'm a gardener, so I'm outside a lot. And they passed by, and they used to be honking and waving, but it's okay, Jonah, because I knew that was going to happen. I don't like it, but it's their rules, not mine.
Yeah. Yeah, but the good thing is that witnesses find it very difficult to shun me because I'm a very lovable person and I absolutely don't believe in their stupid, idiotic mythology. And I have no respect for that. So I do what I want to do. I will
Yeah,
refer to you as my sister because they cannot tell me not to do that, you know?
yeah, yeah.
So, and like that. So I walk up to Jehovah Witnesses and talk to them. And then they talk back because it's really difficult when there's a nice guy talking to you.
Yeah.
It
And
takes two
see, and
to shun because often people, they want to press you down. And if you allow them to do that, you empower them and then they will be nice and pat you on the shoulder and say, we think about you. We want you to come back. But if you're just yourself, then they don't know how to react.
yes. See, and that's
It takes two to tango and it takes two
yes,
to shun.
yes,
You can't just not be
yes,
shunned.
yes. Well, and because of my personality and also because of my background and my career back choices, um, I have a habit of taking control of the conversation. So elders, if they wanted to counsel, they could never really get anywhere with me because I would change the subject, but they didn't realize I was changing the subject kind
Yeah.
of in a manipulative way. Like, I'm not going to go through this story again about how I have MS and that's why I'm not going out in service. So I would just make it, I don't know. I would say, and how is your wife? Or I don't know, just something stupid to change subject. But nonetheless, um, so that's pretty much my story. I'm very happy to have my life back.
Yeah.
Uh, I will admit that I brought some good things out of, I'm like you, I'm just actually a nice person.
Yeah.
I trust people until they give me a reason not to. Um, People tend to seem to enjoy being around me and whatnot. And so, because of the MS, my husband does like our grocery shopping and that kind of business. Well, he just came home an hour ago and said, so and so, I saw them at the store and they said, hey, tell Susan I said hi and I love her. A
Hmm.
brother who's married to an anointed person or supposedly anointed. Uh, my Bible teacher, I don't want to give, there are different ones. There are a handful of people in my former congregation that one way or another still let me know that they think about me and they love me.
Yeah, but when they tell your husband, that's basically they just love bombing him and pretending.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing that, we talk to the spouse of the disfellowship person and pretend we don't disfellowship and we're not shunning. Well, maybe she thinks we're shunning, but we're not doing that. She left us and blah 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 blah. So that's I don't know their motivation, but I know witnesses and I know what I would have done, and they basically love bombing him, not
Yeah.
sending greetings to you. I would.
Now, see, I'm glad that you brought up the disfellowshipping. since you as you said at the beginning of your program, talking to PMOs?
Yeah, that's why I have this. I thought it would be a good idea because PMOs are very lonely and so on. And before they start getting a fake profile and everything, it's a good thing. Actually, my channel got a real hit from this because normally I would get like 10 new subscribers every day, and since I started this, I get like 10 new every month. So the growth just stopped. Yes, I'm like Watchtower now.
I've been marathoning your old videos, catching up on what you did in the past. I love your channel.
Yeah,
But
leave a comment. That's always good.
In regards to being PMO, I just remembered that another really big one was the discovery of the secret Shepherd the Flock book.
Yeah.
Okay. And if one is disfellowshipped, now everybody has their own journey. As you know, we all have our own journey. We all wake up at different rates. We all come out differently. But I discovered that if you disassociate, the Elder's Manual says there is no appeal.
No, of course not.
Flat out. Okay. So not only because I wanted to do it on my terms, but because if I'm disfellowship, they can keep hounding me. They can keep love bombing me through my husband. They can keep calling me, texting me, Facebooking me. They can keep writing me. They can send me, come back to Jehovah. Come back to Jehovah books. And this kind of thing, or as a fader, or as an inactive one. All of that could happen. But a letter of disassociation is me saying, I'm done with you. And I know that your elder's book says I have no appeal. Therefore, don't even bother contacting me. Because I know
you can still be reinstated and stuff like that. So they might still contact you like every now.
You guys be kidding me. It says no appeal.
Yeah, but appeal is like a normal court case. You can appeal and don't go to jail. But if you go to jail, eventually you go out, And it's the same. You're like a disfellowship person. You can anytime try to be reinstated, or they can encourage you. But there is a trick. There is a very good trick. Just say you're an apostate, because then you're grieving the Holy Spirit.
That's it.
Because it says somewhere in the Bible, and the witnesses believe that they refer to us as human apostates, because there is Satan, the demon, and me. We
are spiritually weak and mentally diseased.
No, we are not spiritually weak. We are
That's
evil.
what they said.
No, spiritually weak if you're like fading or something. We're spiritually sick, like terrible.
We've been turned over to Satan and his demons, right?
Yeah, and it says if you first have tasted the Holy Spirit's free gift and then rejected it, there's no salvation, blah blah blah, something like that. So
yeah. Well, what would you think of? Okay, let's say I do eventually get approached by someone. Now, and I would love it if it was someone that didn't know me. And like an attorney, you ask questions you already know the answers to.
Mm-hmm.
To the Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
And kind of get them thinking a little bit. And then maybe say, oh, by the way, I used to be a Jehovah's Witness and I'm an apostate.
Yeah, it's fun. Witnesses are suckers for praise. So if you say, oh, Jehovah Witnesses, I've seen and like they're very proud of the international. So I say, oh, is there Jehovah Witnesses in England? Yeah, we have them in Norway too. They're so happy. And you just mix a little praise and a little question and a little praise. Because as soon as you ask some critical questions 3 in a row, they will, we don't like this, we'd rather talk to someone else. But as long as you praise them and apologize and say like this,
Yeah. Okay.
or just say, for the sake of the argument, if, I'm not saying this, if Jehovah Witnesses wasn't God's true religion, how would you know?
And then, of course, we get the circular reasoning from that.
Yeah.
I
spoke to a Jehovah Witness now, and I don't want to lie to them and pretend I'm not disfellowshipped. I don't have to tell them, but she came and she asked me about my ex, and I said she was disfellowshipped. So then obviously she had a lot of sympathy for me because I was the innocent part and blah, 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 blah. So, well, I still don't want to leave my ex out hanging. So that's why I said I'm on disfellowship too. You know what I said? It's a good line. You can steal it, anyone that wants. I say I'm technically disfellowshipped, but I'm innocent. I didn't do it. The elders did it. And that's true. The elders disfellowship, not me. So,
yeah.
But they don't really listen to what you're saying, so I get away with it.
Would you ever? You would never go back, would you? I certainly wouldn't. I can't.
What's there for me?
There's, and if there are PMOs listening, the cognitive dissonance that you're experiencing right now is to be expected. It's not an easy journey, especially if you've been in all of your life or most of your life. It can really throw you for a loop emotionally and mentally. But there's a beautiful light at the other end. And, and I was in the world before I became a witness. So I already knew that the world wasn't this horrible, rotten, terrible place filled with evil people out to get you. Yeah, there are bad people out there. Heck yeah. There are bad people in the organization too, but that's beside the point. But yeah, there are bad people everywhere, but there are also really great people.
Yeah.
Who, know how to love, and it's not conditional, and they really are your friend, and they really are there for you when you need somebody. And you just got to be wise, and take it slow. And as so many say on so many of the channels here, research. I think I've heard you, Jonah, say, and I know I've heard many others say, and I will swear by this. If it were the truth, it could stand up to scrutiny. It cannot. It cannot stand up to honest scrutiny and research.
No, it's so stupid. Like you said, they said, "Oh, the Earth is a sphere or a circle." Well, is it a circle or a sphere? You can't say that's science. Oh, it's very science. It says the Earth is a circle or a sphere. That's not science. It's either one of them. And by the way, we learn in Pioneer School that the special thing with the New World Translation is that it's consequent. It's always translating the same word the same way. Like soul will always be soul, instead of other translations say the person who sinned that dies. And I think witnesses are right about that one. But when it comes to the word circle, that's actually other places I've heard. I'm not a scholar, but they say it's the Hebrew word for horizon.
Oh.
So they translate it with horizon every other places, but here they translate it with circle and try to make it into sphere. But imagine if you believe that Earth is flat and you look at the horizon, that would be a circle.
No, wait a minute.
If you believe in flat Earth and you would describe the horizon, you could very much use the word circle.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I spaced out on you for just a second there. I'm with you. Well,
And also,
I
there's a
was
tree on the planet that everyone can see, and there's a mountain on the planet where Jesus went up on this mountain and could see everything. And so there's a lot of Bible that the Earth has four corners, and it's standing on pillars, and so on. And there's a circle horizon. So you can actually find much more in the Bible that the Earth is flat than a sphere. They're really stretching it when they get it to be an accurate description.
That's, I honestly don't know where I am right now. I mentioned that before I studied, I didn't believe in God. And that I honestly, I don't know where I am now. I kind of like to believe in something big and wonderful and this, but it all just sounds like a bunch of bullshit. And the Bible is so contradictory.
Yeah.
And if there is a God, if he's the God of the Hebrew scriptures, he is a self-serving, narcissistic, bloodthirsty, slavery approving, mean, everything's about me kind of a guy. I'm not interested in serving that kind of entity.
No. It's not a really nice guy.
So I love
the God. He became nice after Babylon, After they came home from Babylon, then he became nice. So if you look at the Bible first with Abraham, then Jehovah or Yahweh was just Abraham's pal that would come. It says Jehovah came to him, and Abraham would say, "Are you hungry? Let me make you lunch." That kind of God. He came to your camp and you made him food. That was Jehovah. And then it was like the nation of Israel God, like our God, and they have their God. So they were open to the concept of having many gods. And they were talking like, well, our God is a mountain God, so we will fight in the mountain, and there have a plain God. So, it was like one of many gods. But the religion in Babylon, the Zoroastrians, they had this idea, with a God that's one God that created universe, and everyone has a choice, and there will be this epic Armageddon, and then there will be a paradise, and that God is called Ahura Mazda, like the car, Ahura Mazda. And basically Jehovah that we believe in now, like the Christian, is very much something they took from the God Ahura Mazda. The God that visited Abraham and ate the goat with him or anything, that wasn't the creator of universe. That's my local invisible friend, But the God people believe in now is this creator of the universe is within us all. That's something they got from Babylon. Ahura Mazda. So basically it would be Ahura Mazda witnesses.
See, it just gets more and more confusing. The more I learn, the less I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, there was a householder that basically woke me up. He said, if God wanted, if there's a God and he wanted this, the idea of Satan also from Zoroastrianism. Satan, you didn't really have Satan before they came from Babylon, because this epic thing with one God that created the universe, and there's good and there's evil, and we all have a choice to do the right thing, and we will be in the afterlife, blah blah blah. That's the Zoroastrianism.
Well, and I kind of I don't know how to word this. I take issue with this reward system. If you serve me like a slave and you do everything exactly the way I want it, then you get like this reward of everlasting life, or you get to go to heaven, or at least you're not going to burn in hell, or, well, first of all, I'm not afraid of dying. death doesn't, I mean, I'm not courting it, I'm not looking for it, but it doesn't scare me. So the idea of living forever on a paradise earth, which that was never actually anything that, because I could care less. I really could care less. I have this life. It's been a beautiful life. Now it's going back to being a beautiful life. So if this is all I get, great. And if me being a good person who actively puts effort into not being offensive or hurtful, or I show compassion, just being a good, decent human being, if that's not good enough for God, then
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, so I've probably bored your viewers half to death.
No. It's a funny story because one thing I was thinking about is you exposed your grandchildren to love bombing, and this is serious because I know this happened before. So 20 years from now, they have a breakup or a child die. There's a knock on the door, and they remember all the love bombing, and they go there. A place when they're emotionally weak. So you should actually tell them the truth about the truth, because you actually did them. They will remember the love bombing the rest of their life.
Well, my grandchildren were here in my home we risked a visit, and 3 of my 8 grandchildren came. And I had already made my decision. So I started talking to them. Now, keep in mind now, they had gone from a lifetime of a grandma who did Christmas, birthdays, Halloween, Easter, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, all that business. Then grandma became a witness and all that stopped. Well, I have the kind of family where, okay. That's all right. They are so happy that I'm out. And they watch me. I've been on, is it okay to mention other channels? I've been on the John Cedars channel twice on the Last Days live stream as a panel participant. And they're all about it. I've told them straight up, it's a cult. Stay away from them.
Yeah.
I've told my neighbors, I tell everybody, stay away from them. The child indoctrination that they do, that's another issue that bothers me. How can a little child, and I'm not saying anything that countless others in our situation haven't said, but here in the States, you can't vote, you can't drive a car, you can't sign any kind of a legal contract.
Yep.
But you can be baptized into this cult.
It's illegal. It is illegal. What Watchtower is doing is just they're getting away with it because politicians are stupid, and as soon as you say religious freedom, there's like, religious freedom does not mean you can break any laws. It believes you can mentally disagree with the law. That's all.
Yeah. I can't, it's unbelievable, some of this stuff and I love being an American. I love the Constitution, the freedoms that we have and all that business. But I wish there was some way that our government would figure out that this is a printing company and a real estate holding company fronting itself as a religion.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do. This is what I find interesting. You could, for instance, say that you cannot force a religion down a child's throat more than 2 hours a week. That do not violate the religious freedom of the parents. It's a very reasonable 2 hours a week. You know, like if you're a Jehovah Witness kid, you spend between 10 and 20 hours a week. So there are limitations, you know, that's not unreasonable in any way.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily need to have, everyone believes that when you have a legislation, it means that you do this and you go to jail. That's not how the law necessarily works. You can just put a law that you're not allowed, like in Sweden, when they come up with a law. Sweden was the first country to say you're not allowed to beat your children. Like, for obviously violence is all between two human beings, always been crime, but like take a child and spank it because they were disobedient, that kind of violence. Sweden was the first country that made it illegal, and everyone say, oh, socialist Sweden, now it's all going to hell. But basically the rest of the world has followed in our path. But the funny thing is, in Sweden, if you spank your children because they've been disobedient, you don't go to jail, because legislation is not necessary that if you do this, you go to jail. You can actually just write a law that it is illegal, and then people will actually follow the law anyway. In many cases, people, for some reason, we are a tribal animal. So when something is illegal, we confuse that with moral, and also when something is illegal, like beating children in Sweden, that means that Watchtower had to start considering this, because if they tell people that you should beat your, like when I grew up, we got beatings all the time. If the parents didn't know what to do, they gave us a beating, because that's the cure for everything. It's in the Bible.
I've actually been in meetings and had a family with little ones, like toddler age, little children, and have a ministerial servant come up and tap dad on the shoulder. And I didn't realize what was happening, actually. Now, the child was seated right in front of me. It wasn't bothering me at all. I wasn't having any problem paying attention to the meeting. So I don't know why that dad got a tap on his shoulder. But that little boy was taken outside, and I could literally hear him crying out, "Daddy, please don't. Daddy, please don't hit." And he was whipping that, or, paddling or whatever. He took him outside, and I could hear the child crying while the meeting was going on. He didn't do anything.
Yeah. I remember my mother, she was sad because she did like she was very proud to say, you haven't got as much beating as your older brother. I got a lot of beating. But she said, the elders, and she was sad about this. She said, the elders told me to beat Ola, that's my brother, beat him. And she said, it felt wrong to beat a toddler for sleeping at the meeting.
For sleeping?
Yeah. So you have 2 hour. So with the drive, it's like, and some mingling before, it's a 3-hour session, a meeting for a kid.
Yeah.
It's a 15 minutes to drive, 15 minutes to mingle, and the elders would say, because he slept at the meeting and he was a toddler.
Okay. And a midweek meeting, for instance.
Yeah.
That child has already been to school all day.
Not a toddler, but.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah. I should have laid a little foundation there. In this congregation, a school-aged child, a 12-year-old, he's already been in school all day. He's suffering from depression, and he takes medication for depression and anxiety. And he's an elder's son. And that baby was sitting there, and he just kept, his little head would drop and his eye, and he would try so hard to stay awake. Then they had the trip back home after that. Dad's an elder. So, by the way, we're having an elders meeting after the meeting. So here's this little guy with all of these issues already. He has school the next day. He can barely keep his eyes open and his head up. And he's getting chewed out by his mom for not being perky during the meeting. Perky, excuse me? I don't get it. So,
Yeah.
I'm getting a low battery warning, my friend. I'm
Okay.
getting low,
people telling me not to take this down. I could leave this up. So I'm thinking, if you really want to be disfellowshipped, like they never contact you again, then you should go all apostate. So I could change the thumbnail, because we didn't really speak about what to call it, TBM moments this time. So I could just call it Susan Brewer, apostate from and your hometown. They will
okay.
find out. It's okay?
Yes.
Yeah, because they're really afraid of apostate.
I'm out.
They believe we are like the devil, you know. I remember when I was a kid, my father, I was a creative child, you know, believe it or not. And my father always say it's not wrong to think your own thoughts, but it's dangerous, because you might turn into Satan. Satan was thinking his own thoughts, and then you turn into, and it's a terrible thing to say to a kid with imagination, but that's what they believe. And that's why Mark Donald was so terrible, because it's a contagious mental disease that will turn you into. So I make a new thumbnail, Susan Brewer, apostate. You have to send me a picture with you, and I need the congregation you come from. That would be cool.
Okay. And you want me to tell that to you now, or you want me to send it to you on Facebook?
It's later. It is 00:16 a.m. in Norway now. So,
Oh
and
my
I'm going to go out
word.
the window tomorrow, living the dream.
Okay, so I'll send you a picture.
Yeah, I'll make that. So,
and I would like to thank you very much. This is my first time to do this. And I'm very grateful to you for the invitation to come on your show.
Yeah.
And for letting me tell my story.
And
it's
a funny story.
You know, if it helps a PMO do that to the org, then yay.
Yeah, I think there's many, like, it's the whole watchtower concept is failing, you know. Obviously no one's paying for printed paper anymore. Mm-hmm. The real estate business is kind of, they're just selling. They have to restructure everything really hard.
Yeah, one brick at a time.
The good guys.
We are the
watchtower. You could actually do that. Turn into good guys. It would work.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying, if Watchtower is listening here, let's say they would incorporate like any form of real charity. So in order to report your 10 hours, either you could go pestering people with your delusion, or you can volunteer at the soup kitchen. Then you have like hundreds of thousands of PMOs that say, okay, I can live with this. I get to keep my family. I'm not allowed to have fun. But, you know, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And you would actually, there would be much less apostates. You know, I could stand, you know, I'm a humble person, you know, I could just pretend believing in the bullshit and do my 10 hours, I don't know, helping senior citizens in Norway without talking about religion. So there's a lot of stuff they could do just to become good guys and keep their cult running. I think we're losing her. So, did we lose you?
Yeah, I think I'm about to. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Yes, they would have to change an awful lot, though, my friend.
Yeah, but. So the TBM thing,
Bye-bye.
We can do it next week. So okay, bye. I can turn you off here because her battery. So. Okay, so the TBM thing, I'm tired now, but we can do it next week. So please come up with some crazy TBM thing you've done, like totally believing moron, stupid thing you did because you thought it was the right thing to do, and now you know it's absolutely crazy. Well, there's a lot of things I used to tell on people. Yeah, because the Holy Spirit couldn't see it without me telling the elders. So anyway, so no, tomorrow window cleaning. So See you in paradise.